What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another video. Before we get into it, I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. Next up, the tragic story of Lil Snupe. If y'all don't know who Lil Snupe was, he was probably one of the best freestylers to ever come out of Louisiana. He was actually from Jonesboro, Louisiana. And before he died, he did, sign a deal with Meek Mill and Dream Chaser, right? So this right here is going to be explaining what really happened to him. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Lil Snupe was one of the most promising young artists of the 2010s. He was a talented freestyler who secured a deal with Meek Mill's Dream Chasers Entertainment. But before he could reach his true potential, he was shot and killed over a game of 2K. This is the tragic true story of Lil Snupe. Snupe was born...
Okay, so look, I didn't catch on to Lil Snupe until probably months before he passed away. But when he passed away, people was going around saying that he, it was a dice game, right? But he's saying it was over 2K. So let's just see what he got to say.
Born and raised in Jonesboro, Louisiana. His pops was locked up when he was around 4 years old, so Snupe was mostly raised by his mom, who had him when she was just 15. Growing up, Snupe was an active kid who could never sit still. He started rapping when he was 4, and it was clear early on that he had something special. Most toddlers are barely able to put a sentence together, but Lil Snupe was making up rhymes off the top of his head. According to his mom, Snupe freestyled so much as a kid that sometimes she made him write his bars down just so she could have some peace of mind. She told XXL magazine it was just natural for him. It was surprising to me because he would always be around rapping, but I just never paid attention to how good he really was. So sometimes I would just be like, can you be quiet? Go write it down. Because he'd just be freestyling all around and it would get on my nerves. Snupe was a smart kid, but he got in trouble all the time because he couldn't focus. Sometimes he would run away and hide out in abandoned apartment complexes to avoid going to school, and his mom would call the police. She reported him to the cops so many times, they eventually got tired of dealing with him. One time, she called a reporter missing, and the dispatcher told her, "Ma'am, he's not missing, he's a runaway." When Snupe was 8, he joined a rap crew in Texas and started recording tracks with them after school. Unfortunately, they kicked him out for some reason, but that didn't hold him back. According to his mom, it just made Snupe want to prove himself even more. Even though he knew from an early age he wanted to be a rapper, it was hard for Snupe to not get distracted by his surroundings. His mom says he never got into any real trouble with the law, but Snupe made references to juvie in his music. Everyone around knew Snupe had talent, but no one believed in him more than his mom. After he got kicked out of the Texas crew, she saved her money and started buying recording equipment piece by piece to support her son. She wanted him to focus on music and avoid getting sucked into the
That's how you do it. If you know your child got a potential and they good at something, invest in them, bro. That'll make them go even harder. So shout out to his mama for even believing in him, because a lot of parents, they, sometimes they just be like, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just where I'm from. The parents don't really be parenting.
street life that got his dad locked up. The thing that really set Snupe apart from everyone else was his freestyles. He could spit bars off the dome for over an hour and never ran out of things to say. But unlike most dudes who get great at freestyling, his recorded verses were just as good, if not better. And when Snupe dropped his first project,
this
16
is
and
the
Run...
one right here. This is the one. Before he passed away, this is the one I was jamming right here. It wasn't what's that? Resurrected. It was just 16 and Running. And when I say he has some of the best freestyles on this damn tape right here, this one right here was the one.
In 2012, people started paying attention immediately. People in the area knew Snupe was good, but he wanted to be more than a hometown hero. He wanted to be a legend. So, when his favorite rapper, Meek Mill, announced a show at Grambling State University, Snupe ain't hesitate to shoot his shot. Snupe knew a girl working security at the show and convinced her to give him a pass. When Meek was about to leave after the concert, Snupe walked right up to his van, knocked on the window, and slid his mixtape over. He bounced without saying a word, but it didn't take long before he got the news that would change his life.
In my opinion, and I want y'all to go and, research Lil Snupe and see how good he really was. In my opinion, I feel like he was better than Meek Mill. He was better than everybody on Dream Chaser's label. Hell, shit, probably even Rick Ross's label. Because Meek Mill, he's also signed to Rick Ross label, MMG or whatever that means, right? Snupe was better than all of them. And the industry is all about sacrifice. Not all about sacrifices, but to reach a certain height, you have to sacrifice, right? Imagine if Lil Snupe was still here. He would have surpassed Meek Mill like by a long shot, right? And I don't know, bro. In my opinion, I just feel like Meek didn't want that to happen, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just jumping, but I don't know. this shit never added up to me when this shit first came out. Because Snoop, he was the one, bro. Like, he has so much potential, and the fact that he can go forever just rapping and fucking freestyling off the dome, like, people get intimidated by that shit. You feel me? Well, let's
20 minutes after Snoop handed Meek his tape, he was riding around with his homies, laughing about the situation. Then, another one of their friends called him and said Meek had shouted Snoop out on Twitter. Snoop couldn't believe it, but he hopped on Twitter and saw Meek posting lyrics from his tape. Then Meek reached out himself and talked to Snoop over the phone. Snoop and the people around him knew he was skilled, but no one expected things to take off so fast. Established rappers get mixtapes from up-and-coming artists every day, so for Meek to respond to Snoop's tape so strongly said a lot about the quality of the music. A couple of weeks later, Snoop told his mom not to get him anything for Christmas because Meek wanted him to come out to Philadelphia. She brushed him off at first, then Snoop showed her a Greyhound ticket from Louisiana to Philly. She still thought it was weird that a massive artist like Meek would send a bus ticket instead of flying him out, but she took Snoop to the station anyway. Snoop's mom was working 2 jobs at the time and couldn't go with him, so she sent her son on a 36-hour bus ride to chase his dreams.
Damn, 36 fucking hours on a damn bus? I would never. I drove 16 hours to fucking Florida, and I would never do that again. Let alone 36 hours, hell no.
In a rap battle for T.I.'s album release party. It wasn't until her son's funeral that she learned the true story. Meek Mill told her that he never actually asked Snoop to come out. He just showed up out of nowhere to link up. Snoop made up the whole story, so his mom let...
Oh, shit. So this was all Snoop's doing, it wasn't Meek Mill. Hey, you gotta what? Hey, he really wanted that shit.
Go. All his homies told him dropping in on Meek without an invite was crazy. Snoop bet on himself and took the chance anyway. It ended up paying off in a huge way, and Meek took him under his wing immediately. Showing up at a massive artist's doorstep looking for an opportunity ain't gonna work out 99% of the time. But Snoop was so talented that Meek had no choice but to take him in.
Yeah.
He told Snoop about a rapper named Retro who wanted to battle him for 10K, and Snoop accepted the challenge without hesitation. Snoop stepped up and battled the dude in front of huge artists like T.I., Trey the Truth, and his new mentor Meek. He easily dusted Retro and won the battle. Then the video of the whole thing went viral and put Snoop on the map. From that first freestyle, everyone knew they was watching something special. Meek Mill signed Snoop to his Dream Chasers label and started taking him around and show off his skills. Snoop dropped his debut project, RNIC, and everybody was convinced that he was the next to blow up.
Yep.
With this tape, Snoop showed he wasn't just a battle rapper who could freestyle off the dome, but a talented artist with a clear sound and vision. Everything happened so fast, Snoop barely had time to enjoy his success. He was on track to become a superstar, but then tragedy struck and cut his life and career short. 2 months after he dropped RNIC, Snoop was chilling at his friend's apartment in Louisiana. According to his friend Lil E, Snoop was playing 2K with a dude named Tony Holden. Tony and Snoop was putting bets on the games, but the situation got heated when Tony lost. So he put out a pistol and shot Snoop twice in the chest. Tony Holden was already on bail at the time, but he turned himself in and was charged with first-degree murder, armed robbery, and illegal possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Lil E was picked up for manslaughter, but according to Snoop's mom, he was the one who actually pulled the trigger.
Number 1, Tony Holden did not kill Snoop. It was Edric Stewart.
3 years after Snoop's death, his mom did an interview with XXL magazine and gave her side of the story. She said that during the investigation, it was discovered that the bullets that killed Snoop ain't matched Tony's gun, but they did match Lil E's. According to her,
that shit crazy. So all along, it wasn't even him. It was actually his closest friend who killed him. That's fucked up. That's
Tony got 10 years for being a convicted felon with a firearm, not killing Snoop. The charge against Lil E was dropped, even though the authorities knew his bullet killed Snoop. What makes the situation worse is that Snoop's mom said Lil E was involved in another homicide later that year, which could have been prevented if the police did their job. She told XXL that the police left the crime scene unguarded, so people came through to rob the apartment and mess up evidence too. From what Snoop's mom says, it seems like Lil E caused the whole issue. Tony and Snoop wasn't even really heated with each other, but then Lil E allegedly escalated the situation and ended with Snoop getting killed over nothing. No one can say for sure what went down, except the people who were there, but it's all definitely suspicious. Ever since Snoop died, his mom tried to keep his name alive and get justice for his death. She produced a documentary about his life to inspire other kids like him to make it out of the streets and follow their dreams, and also wrote a book about his story. Meanwhile, his dad got released from prison and started using his name to clout chase. Snoop's dad tried to air out his mom, Meek Mill, and others for not putting a headstone on Snoop's grave. But Snoop's mom said the whole thing was just a publicity stunt because he wants to use his son's name to get attention for himself.
Snoop Dad has caused, it's all a show. It's for a show. It's been rehearsed. Basically, he's having people to kind of coach him on what he thinks is going to work because he's determined to be famous. That's his main thing.
Lil Snupe was only 18 when he died, and he had so much more talent that the world would never get to see. He was only in the industry for a couple of months before his death, but his impact was huge. Not only was he skilled, but everyone who met him only had positive things to say. His mom told XXL that artists like Trey the Truth, Yo Gotti, Boosie, and Meek Mill still show her love and check up on her. Snoop's legacy lives on in the music he left behind and the impression he made on people, but unfortunately, we only got to see the beginning. Rest in peace to Lil Snupe, one of the most promising artists of the 2010s who was taken away too soon.
That shit crazy, bro. I still wish he was alive to this day. I feel like a lot of these rappers wouldn't be rappers if Lil Snupe was still here. And that's just my opinion. He was that fucking cold with the lyrics, bro. He was that cold. Make sure y'all go do y'all research on Lil Snupe and see what I'm talking about. He was really that. You feel me? Let me know what y'all want to see next down in the comments. I'll catch y'all in the next one.